So, Kaylee Cunningham,
Yes.
TikTok sensation, here with us today at IYNC 2022 in Koriyama, Japan. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I just finished my technical talk. Went super well. No crazy hard questions. You know, my lab group grilled me before I came here, so this was smooth sailing.
Tell us about your journey here from finding out about nuclear to coming here to presenting on your technical talk.
Oh my gosh, it's been a long journey. So when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to join an engineering academy, and the kind of head director of that academy, Miss Nirmala Arunachalam, Miss Nimi, kind of like took me under her wing and became a huge mentor to me throughout high school and my undergraduate career. Nuclear was one of the topics we covered in one of our kind of survey classes of what is engineering. And, you know, I always loved math, physics, chemistry, all those kinds of things. So I thought maybe this is a cool field to get into. I will say I was never very good at math, chemistry, or physics, but I really enjoyed them. So I kind of persevered, pushed through them, and ended up at the University of Florida for my bachelor's degree, completed that this past May. 2022, I graduated with my degree in nuclear engineering. And now I'm in grad school. I just started in August at MIT. I'm doing a PhD also in nuclear science and engineering. And I'm here because my undergraduate research project, I ended up submitting as a technical talk to this conference because I was really, really passionate about it and didn't want to just kind of leave my research hanging in the midst of undergrad world and wanted to share it with the community. So I submitted the paper, it got accepted. Things got a little delayed for this conference. It got postponed. I graduated, I changed schools, but my advisor at MIT is just so awesome, and he pushed me to continue and actually go to the conference, present the paper, funded my travel, all that stuff. So kind of a cool, crazy journey, I guess, but I made it here. After a 14-hour flight, I made it here.
Break it down for me, you know, explain like I'm 5 level. What's your paper about? What are you trying to figure out and accomplish with it?
So I'm trying to make lead vests lighter. My sister is a nurse in an operating room, and she calls me all the time complaining, oh my God, I had to wear lead for 12 hours straight. It's sweaty, it's heavy, it's uncomfortable, and it's just a pain in the butt. So she calls me like 3 times a day complaining about this. So I set out to come up with a solution and try and make her life a little bit easier. Excuse me. And she has to wear lead because she is an orthopedic operating room nurse. So they're constantly taking x-rays as they're performing surgery. So I set out to find some lightweight, cool, innovative materials and kind of use them to create my own material to make things lighter weight, more flexible, more comfortable, and non-toxic. You would think that would be maybe an important factor when you're working with surgery. Lead is pretty toxic. If something were to break or rip or anything like that, not great. So
Did you have to ingest it, or could it?
Yes, yeah. But I mean, if there's an open wound, a piece of lead shot falls out of the vest, that could be a really, really big problem. So, you know, something a little bit safer and a lot more comfortable. That's what we're shooting for.
Cool. So some kind of alloy, or is it a different?
So I use these things called carbon nanotubes. Okay, so think like a sheet of chicken wire, right? That kind of hexagonal structure made of carbon, right? Graphene. And then shrunk down to that nano size and rolled up into a tube. That's a carbon nanotube. And coating that, because it's lightweight, it's super strong, and it loves to have metals kind of stick onto the sides. So coating that with bismuth and iron, some non-toxic but good shielding materials, to attenuate those electrons in sort of a lightweight, unique matter. So I got to play around in a chemistry lab, technically a radiochemistry lab, and mixing sodium hydroxide with nitric acid and doing all the crazy stuff. I had a lab coat. I felt so cool. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, awesome. What's your favorite thing about nuclear power?
My favorite thing about nuclear power. So actually something you said in the panel session yesterday, it's basically magic. Like, I loved that. And I'm stealing that for a TikTok.
I guess.
But it's just such a cool technology. And that's kind of what drew me to the nuclear field. Like, when you hear nuclear, you think, whoa, that's freaky, that's kind of scary. And that kind of scary allure is what drew me in. From there, I started to learn more about how it's actually a super clean and ironically super, super safe energy source. And also being super passionate about climate change and environmentalism and trying to save our planet and keep us here on Earth. I just think nuclear energy is such an awesome energy source to do that and to solve that problem.
Mm-hmm. What's the most common misconception of nuclear energy that you hear, and how do you address it?
So first, the number one thing I get asked is, what is nuclear? What does that mean? Maybe not a misconception, but I come from a very colloquial middle class family. My dad's a roofer. My mom
That's awesome.
is
My dad's a roofer
mom.
too.
Oh, okay, small world.
Yeah.
And so explaining to, and my cousin who traveled here with me, everybody is not even close to involved in engineering, academia, that kind of thing. So everyone's like, what are you doing? Like, what does this mean? And I guess the best way to answer that is I am trying to save the world, right? I'm trying to save the world with cool, hot rocks. Biggest actual misconception is the waste. I have so many TikTok videos that I have made. I think there's 3 of them that have gone totally viral just for saying nuclear waste is not green glowing slime. It's just not. They're actually little tiny pellets that sit inside these long, skinny metal rods. It's not deadly for hundreds of thousands of years. It's deadly for no time. It's just a really clean, safe, and well-handled industry. Going back to the waste again, another great point is that the nuclear industry, at least in the United States, is the only industry that has to regulate its waste and has to have a plan to see its waste through the entire lifetime of a nuclear reactor before the reactor is even built. All the other energy industries, you can just put up a coal plant, say, oh, we'll figure out the waste later, nobody cares. The nuclear industry, because of the stigma behind it, you have to have a game plan for the waste before you can even break ground and start digging dirt. So it's, a lot of people don't understand that, and it's kind of ironic because waste from coal plants is 10 times, I think it's 100 times more radioactive. Don't quote me on that, but it's significantly more radioactive, super unsafe, and nuclear fuel is very safe, very clean, and very well handled. Go figure.
What's your hottest take on nuclear?
My hottest take on nuclear. Oh gosh. Hot take. Everybody needs to stop focusing on 50,000 different designs. Again, this comes from a United States perspective, but we have people fighting for molten salt reactors. We have people fighting for SMRs. We have people fighting for advanced reactors like high temperature gas cooled, all these different types. And then we have the fusion people that are way out there doing that stuff, which I say them, but I'm working on fusion now. At the end of the day, if we want to see nuclear energy come to fruition in the United States in an advanced and innovative state, instead of the kind of 1970s, 60s bubble we've been kind of rolling along in for the last several decades, in my opinion, hot take, we need to focus on one reactor type. because it's hard enough for us to be fighting for and advocating for nuclear energy as a whole. A house divided can't stand. Being split up in so many different opinions on what reactor has to do what and when. My opinion, we should be looking at SMRs. All of us should be putting all of our focus into the small modular reactors and trying to get those deployed and constructed in the United States ASAP, and then eventually throughout the rest of the world.
Tell me about your experience with TikTok. What inspired you to start making videos?
Yeah.
And how's the reaction been?
Yeah. So I went on a short-term study abroad trip to Iceland last year. And this was to study geothermal energy. And throughout the program, Iceland experts, energy experts, Icelandic energy experts, there we go, started discussing alternative energy resources, specifically renewable energy resources. And with that, nuclear energy was not a part of the conversation. And being the token nuclear engineer in the room, I'm always raising my hand. Have we thought about nuclear? What about bringing nuclear to the table? And the response I was constantly getting was, oh no, we're a peaceful nation. We don't do that. We don't believe in that. And that really shocked me and kind of, I had to take a step back, and I got very heated up about it, a little emotional, and posted a TikTok about it. And it got a lot of attention. And from there, I just kept making videos, and people kept asking questions in the comment sections, and it's kind of grown exponentially from there.
What gives you hope?
What gives me hope? Events like this, where we see a lot of young professionals coming together to talk about how to move forward. Everybody seems to be on the same page that climate change is happening. Finally, we're agreeing on that.
Mm-hmm.
But from there, we need to figure out what to do about it. And having so many people from literally all over the world that are advocating for nuclear energy, that are passionate about nuclear energy, gives me hope that each person that's here has 10, 15, 20 people behind them, that they can take their experience here and go back to those people and, preach the good word about nuclear and share that all over the world.
Would you rather have 100% nuclear electricity, but all RBMK designs, or 100% coal electricity?
Like old RBMK designs, like.
I'll leave it up to your interpretation.
Okay, and what was the other one? Coal?
100% coal.
Oof. I would spring for the RBMK design, really, because the impacts, if we were 100% coal, we wouldn't see the sky if we walked outside, right? Things might be a little risky, but I'd rather take the nuclear risk than be 1,000% sure and guaranteed that we're all going to get lung cancer and die. So, kind of pick your poison.
Yeah. I should probably mention for people who don't know that RBMK is the design they used at Chernobyl. And there are still several running today that they added containment structures to. So
thank God for containment.
It can be made into a safe reactor, even though the one in 1986 wasn't. It wasn't operated safely. What's next for you?
Grad school. I am trying to focus on my PhD. It's hard when you have this really intense passion for science communication and advocacy. I actually filled out an application for Generation Atomic Ambassadors, but didn't end up going to the interview meeting because grad school started to take over, and it's like too many things going on my plate at once. I also have policy in the back side of my mind, that I've been doing some advocacy work there. So short term, getting my PhD, that is the number one focus. Long term, trying to figure out what's next. Maybe I will be in policy, maybe I will be in social media and advocacy, and maybe I'll be doing research at a national lab. I have no idea. Maybe a little bit of all three.
Yeah. Lots of options. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, go nuclear.
Go nuclear. Hell yeah. All right.
Awesome. Thank
Thanks so
you.
much, Kaylee.